What's up everyone, Alex here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play something called Zelda Dungeons of Infinity. This is a brand new game. It's not like a port or a mod. It's something built from the ground up with Game Maker, and it's basically a new roguelike that looks like A Link to the Past. It looks really cool, and it's only for PC, so the only way we're going to be able to play it is by using Winlator. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to where you can download the latest APK from the GitHub. It's very simple, just install the APK as you would and then run the app from the device. I have something set up in Pegasus here so I can use this icon. The other thing we need to do is download the game itself. I'm going to leave a link in the description to, I think it's the Discord, where you have to join the channel and then you can download the newest version of the game. So what I've done here, I'll show you in my archive. So in my download folder, this is the folder we're going to be using inside Winlator. I have made a PC folder, and this is where I've put my PC games. So when you get the Zelda download file, which is a zip file, you want to unzip that on your PC, or you could even download it to your device here and unzip that. And you want to have your folder here, Zelda Dungeons of Infinity. This is where all the game data is. You want to make sure that's there. So like I said, it needs to be in the download folder. You can leave it inside the download folder, but I have made a special PC folder just because that's what I want to do. So get out of there and we're going to run Winlator. Well, I just pressed forward too many times. There we go. So here, it's going to be quite simple with this game in particular. So all you need to do is just copy what I've done. You want to press the add button and create a new container. And I'm just going to show you what my container looks like. The container is basically just like a version of Windows we're going to run. So you can name the container anything you like. We're going to set the screen size for 720, the graphics driver to turnip, DX wrapper to DXVK, and audio driver to ALSA. There's things you can tweak there, but for this case, we're just going to leave it as is. And FPS, show FPS up to you, don't really need to. And if we scroll down here, the things we need to look at are these options. So if you want to copy these, if they're not by default, I set my GPU to GTX 1070 just because I saw a couple of tutorials and thought I'll choose this one as it's something they've chosen as well. And then video memory size, I think by default that is at 2048. I've set mine to 4096 just because the Odin has quite a lot of RAM. It can do that. And then the only other thing we really need to look at is in advanced. You want to make sure these two settings are set to compatibility. And then these other settings here, you can copy mine like this. What I've done is I had every CPU ticked except for 0 because I wanted to leave one just open for any Android business going on. And then these were set by default, so these last 4 were ticked. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to tick that, and then I'm going to run this container. And once it starts up, we have a version of Windows here. This folder opens up. So you can see the drives C, D, and Z there. So if we open up D, you'll see that this is our downloads folder. So downloads folder on our Android device. You can see that I made that PC folder earlier. So I'm going to double click that. And so I'm using my touch screen here to do this. And you can see inside I've got Zelda Dungeons of Infinity. So what I've done here is the EXE, Dungeons of Infinity EXE. So if you hold with left and touch right, so 2 inputs will do a right click. What I do here is I create a shortcut, click that, and then it will make a shortcut on the desktop. So let me just left and right, and then I can move this folder. And you can see it's made some shortcuts up here. So we don't need to use those ones in particular. The reason I'm making a shortcut is if I just exit out of here, and if I press this above containers and go to shortcuts, we have a games list here. These are all the little shortcuts we've made. So now if I press Dungeons of Infinity, it's going to start up. Now this might just take a little while. You can see that we've got a mouse moving around, and now it says loading. Now it's running the game. So I think in the container, I think there's an option that says exclusive full screen. If you have a problem with it running in a window, you can set it to exclusive full screen and it will open up as a full window. if it does open up as a window, I think there's a little maximize button, just like in Windows, that you can scroll over to and click pretty quickly. But yeah, game's just loading, and hopefully I cross my fingers when I do these videos because strange stuff happens. And we've got Zelda Dungeons of Infinity running. Looks pretty nice. Now, I haven't set up any inputs. I don't think this needs to be done. I don't know what's going on in particular, but with this game, you can see that this is just working as intended. So I've already made a file for me to play on. If I press that, if I go to Options, Controls, Gamepad, you can see that I can press Remap, and I can set anything to any button, which is, you know, anything I want it to be. And if I screw that up, doesn't matter. I can press default and do all this. So I think these are backwards because I've set it to Xbox or Odin. Something's kind of iffy about that. But, you know, you can just set these buttons how you like. So I think it's like, for me, it's like sword, action, item map or something. And yeah, I don't know. Well, look, let's quickly test it and show that it's working fine. So new game, you can change your character around, something else, something instead of Link if you like. Bonus items, so I guess you start off with something. So I've only played this a little bit. Planning to play this a lot later. And you can add some challenges if you like. So when you start the game, you will find that we're at the start of this area. Running around with the stick is good. Running around with the D-pad works. The D-pad's a little tighter, but because it's the Odin, it's just kind of awkward using the D-pad all the time. This little frog gives you tips, and it's really dark for some reason. I think if I press start, I can set this bomb. I don't know how to exit out of this. Hopefully it'll be brighter now. There we go, so much brighter. Yeah, and that's it. Zelda Dungeons of Infinity. I already played this once, and I can tell this is a different seed. I've not explored a dungeon like this yet before. The only sort of annoying thing is you have the sword, and when you hold the sword, you can't, you know, hold it to do a big 360 attack. If you hold the accept button, you can run faster. So I don't know if you unlock something in the dungeon that lets you do like a 360 attack, but yeah. That's Zelda Dungeons of Infinity working on Winlator. I would like to mess around with Winlator more. It's not something I've really looked into, but checking this out today with the controls working as they are, I thought this is awesome. So yeah, I'll give it a go, and it's working. So yeah, that's Zelda Dungeons of Infinity. I guess at this point, I'm kind of interested to see who watches my channel knows a lot about Winlator, because what I have been doing is I've been thinking about like what kind of exclusives that are just on Windows that would be fun to play on the Odin 2. So things like really fun fan games that only work on Windows. And one of the instances I had of that is the Metroid Prime 2D demo, because it seemed kind of fun. But the problem with that is that it doesn't naturally have any like gamepad controls baked in. You have to map the gamepad to the keyboard. So if I go to input controls here, so let's say I go over to Prime 2D. So I've called that Prime 2D. That's a profile I want to use. And if I go to down here, you can see it detects the Xbox wireless controller. And I press that. And basically any button you press here, it will detect it. And you can assign a function to it, whether it is using a keyboard, mouse, or gamepad. And we don't need to map the gamepad because it is a gamepad. We want to map things from the keyboard or the mouse. But why I'm having a problem here is it's not detecting the stick properly, and I don't really know why it's doing that. And I assume maybe it's something to do with a setting inside Odin, so maybe I have to like change the dead zone, or maybe I have to switch from Odin to Xbox. I'm not quite sure. I haven't messed around too much of it, but it doesn't really detect the right stick either, or the D-pads, so I can't really map those, which is just basically stopping me from playing like anything unless it's got like baked in controls. So if anybody knows anything about that, that would be really cool. And I guess if anybody has any really cool ideas about what might be like PC exclusive, these could be, so the thing I was being drawn towards was basically Mega Man fan games, Castlevania fan games, Sonic fan games. And speaking of Sonic fan games, because I had no idea that this was on Android, Sonic Robo Blast 2, I thought this was PC only, but it does have an Android port. So I was going to check this out on Winlator, found out there's an Android port, so I set it up in Pegasus, and yeah, I had no idea it works as well as it does. It like works with controls properly, you can set them up quite quickly, and if you ever seen videos of this, it looks really cool. I've only done the tutorial of this, so I'm hoping I just jump in. Yeah, and it works with controls. It works with the right stick. I can run around. I can spin. I can jump. So I was like, okay, I don't need Winlator to play this. I have no idea if this is a full game now. I've always known this to be kind of a demo, so I'll be interested to play this later on. But yeah, it was cool to know I didn't need Winlator to do this, because I really didn't want to set up all the controls and things. But yeah, if anybody has any tips on using Winlator on the Odin 2 when it comes to managing the sticks and the D-pad, because I just can't seem to manage those. If I could, it'd be cool to play things like Prime 2D demo on here and stuff like that. So anybody got any ideas, that'd be awesome. I'm going to leave that video here. Thanks very much for watching. Please give it a like if it helped you out. Subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll be doing things like Retroid Pocket Mini and Retroid Pocket 5 reviews coming up in the next month or so. So look forward to those, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.